Hi folks, so today we are having a look at National 5 topic of significant figures. This is a very small aspect of the course, but comes into several other topics where you're required to round an answer to a certain number of significant figures. So what we're looking to be able to do here is be able to recognise how many significant figures any number has, be able to round a large number or a small number to significant figures, and also use significant figures to make estimations. So let's have a look at, first of all, recognising how many significant figures a number has. If we have a look at the number 300, 2600, 3230, we would say that the first number has one significant figure. So the number at the front is a real digit and the rest are zeros. The next one we would say has two significant figures. The zeros on the end are not considered significant. And the last one has three significant figures. So that's looking at large numbers. If I'm talking about smaller numbers, I'm talking about decimal values starting with a 0 point. And it's a similar rule that applies, but the significant part comes at the end of the number. So in 0.08, we have one significant figure, it's the number 8. Number 2, or the second one here, we have two significant figures. And of course, the last one, we have three significant figures. So the zeros aren't considered significant. The only thing that we do need to bear in mind is that if a zero lies between two numbers, then it is considered significant. So, for example, here, if I had 50,300, this zero is counted as significant. So this number has three sig figs, or SF in this case. Okay, so just bear that in mind as we move forward. So like many aspects of calculations at the moment, you need to be able to round to the nearest 10, nearest 100, maybe one decimal place or two decimal places. In National 5, you'll also be asked to consider significant figures. So you might be asked to round a value to one significant figure, for example. If we look at these three, first of all, one significant figure means that I want just one real digit here and the rest to turn into zeros. So we're still using the skills that we used previously for our other types of rounding. We want the number to stop there and just be zeros after that line. So what we need to do is consider this number 4. If that number on that side of the line is a 5 or bigger, then it would make the 3 round up. But because it's in the 4 or less category, then it means that the number 3 stays as it is. So our answer here would be 300. So it's similar to what is the nearest 100. Okay, number 2. Again, I want it to be just one number and then this turns into a 0. So would the 5 stay as a 5 or does the 6 make it round up? It should round up to 60. Number 3, again, I want one significant figure. So looking behind the line here, this number 5 will make the 2 round up. So my answer will be 3 and the rest turn into zeros. So 3,000. Looking at another few here. Smaller numbers this time means that I want the number to stop here. And we don't need to put a 0 on the end there in that position where the 3 is, because it doesn't change the value of the number. But we are going to use the 3 to think about, will the 4 remain as it is or will it round up? So 3 would make that stay as it is, 0.04. And then the next one, we want it to stop here. And of course, the number 9 will make the number 5 round up. Okay, so that's us rounded each of those to one significant figure. We also need to be able to round these to other significant figures, so maybe 2, maybe 3. If we just take a few more here, number 5, this time we're asked to do two significant figures, so that means that I want the first two numbers, and then the rest are going to turn into zeros. So in this case, the 9 will make the 8 round up, so this will be 39,000 as my answer. For my next one, we've got a smaller number. This time we want 3 significant figures. So 1, 2, 3. And we look at the number 8 and say, well, 8 would make the number 2 round up. So 0493. Okay, moving on from that, this is our basic rounding that we need to get a bit of practice on. We then also could use this to give us estimating properties. So if I had something like 32 times 538 and I didn't have time to be working that out exactly or didn't need an exact answer, then if I round both of these to one significant figure, it gives me a rough idea of the answer. So 30 multiplied by 500, if I make them one significant figure, that's a much easier calculation to do here. So that is going to be 15,000, 15,000 as a rough idea. So it can be useful to get us in the right ballpark. Next one, I have got 485 divided by 18. Again, if I was to make that one significant figure to give me a rough idea of the answer, that would be 500 divided by 20, and 500 divided by 20 gives us 25. So a shortcut to that one, if you remember going back to maybe even first year, knock off the zeros and we just do 50 divided by 2 if this was non-calculator. Okay, so that covers for us all of the aspects that we need to know about significant figures. I did tell you that was going to be quite short. So we need to be able to identify how many significant figures a number has, round a large or a small number to a specific amount of significant figures, and use scientific notation for estimation. I would recommend some practice on these. This will particularly be seen a lot when you're looking at the topic of volume, so that could be an extra mark in one of those large questions.